There we go. So, do you want to introduce?
No, you could do this one.
Okay. Okay. So, welcome back, guys. This week we are. I was to say, I was looking at an episode from Decoding the Gurus on mentalism versus magic, and being that David is an NLP practitioner and a hypnotherapist. If I'm right, David, is that right?
Hypnotherapist. I don't have any formal qualifications in NLP, but
Okay.
you can't be a hypnotherapist without using NLP.
So that put that nice and clearly.
Well, the only reason I
I
say that
know.
is because there's genuine people out there who are certified NLP practitioners,
Yeah.
and I'm not one of them, but I am a certified hypnotherapist.
Okay. So we don't really. This episode doesn't really touch into hypnotherapy so much, but it touches on the mentalism, which comes under NLP, which is why I thought
Yeah,
I'd find it quite interesting. It's decoding the gurus. So their whole take is literally what they say on the tin, decoding the gurus, and that is all the gurus that we see online with the way that they present what they're presenting in order to sell courses, ideas, their YouTube channel, their subscribers, all that kind of stuff. So I thought it'd just be an interesting topic to cover. For me, I've done a lot of research in cults, cultish behavior and language. I've done a lot of research into body language and understand now that it's a complete and utter pseudoscience. You can't read people's body language in the way that many people would have you believe. And so I thought this would be an interesting topic for David and I to cover because we're both got a kind of a bit of a vested interest from our wellness backgrounds anyway. But not only that, it's just a little bit of fun as much as anything else. We're not trying to take this too seriously, but it's interesting to see what comes out of a space where you've got a psychologist, an anthropologist, a cultural anthropologist, and then they're interviewing a guy that literally talks about the difference between mentalism and magic and how these different deception techniques can be used outside the realm of entertainment. But I think David and I are going to stick more in the realms of entertainment. Again, we want to keep this light. But we might just veer off in the conversation into slight other areas. So just to make you aware of
yeah,
that.
yeah. It was an interesting one because up until I'd listened to that episode, I didn't really realize there was no such thing as a mentalist. They're all pretty much just magicians who have learned some very good psychology tricks. If you'd have asked me before that, I would have said that I genuinely thought there were people who could just read people using psychology, body language, eye movements. Now, while there is a bit of a pseudo-science behind body language, there is some validity to it in the right context. The same as reading eye pattern movements, facial expressions. In the right context, they are quite informative. How people speak can be quite informative. But the thing that people don't always appreciate is context is the foundation that matters. Um,
Yeah.
as well as understanding who you're talking to and who you're listening to. And interestingly, I've always found it amusing when people say people who cross their arms are very defensive. My arms are always crossed, especially when I'm doing podcasts. So I just find it comfortable. So
Comfortably
under the
defensive, David.
yeah, yeah, but under the golden rules of podcasting, sorry, of body language, that would make me defensive. No, I just find it comfortable. It's just how I sit. I often sit like this when I'm talking to anyone. I just how I find it's literally where I am comfortable.
So
Um,
this is where the context matters things because
yeah,
when you start to understand baseline and when people move across their baseline, all that is from a body language point of view, as far as I understand, is an indicator to potentially ask more questions with regards to what's made them move away from their baseline because it's a potential stressor. But it's a potential stressor, not a guaranteed stressor. So
yeah,
again, this is where it becomes kind of a pseudoscience. That there are no absolutes in it. There are ideas that tell you actually this could be a good thing to probe in because something changed in the way someone sat under a certain premise, i.e., an interview premise, and potentially made them either more uncomfortable or more comfortable. And you don't know until you dig further into the thing that prompted that movement. And it might be that actually nothing prompted that movement other than the person just needed to move from the position they were in. It could be that simple.
Yeah. So, like, as a general rule of thumb, people go on about eye movements, and again, they're very useful. As a hypnotist, we use them all the time. Which direction people are looking when they're being asked questions, or when you're talking to them. But just because an eye movement might mean somebody is thinking, it doesn't mean they're necessarily lying. The same as a general rule of thumb, and again, I say general rule of thumb, and I need people to try and understand the context. If you ask somebody a question like, "Did you take my packed lunch?" If they're telling the truth, they'll just say no. An indicator that they might be lying is like, I wouldn't do that. Why would I? They'll start explaining themselves. But it's context. Is the person always a bit jittery, always a bit nervous? Is the person just caught off guard? There's so many factors you've got to take into place. And if you're being interviewed by the police or by HR, or you think you're in serious trouble, the immediate yes, no answers that might come out as a baseline disappear because you're going to try and emphasize to this person why you're innocent when you are innocent.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
and
100%.
people misunderstand a lot of that. And anybody that feels they're being questioned loses their normal baseline.
Yeah, yeah. Well, of course it is, because that being questioned over your potential character is an immediate stressor, even if you're innocent.
Well, if you're innocent and you feel like people don't believe you, your baseline is going to be defensive. It's going to be, you're going to explain yourself.
And this is where we get the idea of over-explaining and people who over-explain things. And I definitely been guilty of that in my life. I'm sure many of you
everybody
are as
is.
well, in natural over-explainers. Because ultimately, why if you feel like someone's even got a motive to challenge you, then that in itself just puts you on a back foot. So you feel like you need to defend yourself, even if you have nothing to defend.
Yeah. And that's it. But I mean, the thing that's, like I said, that surprised me most from that episode of Decoding the Gurus is they were talking specifically about a Darren Brown episode in that where effectively what they said was the reason